Justin, are you ready to check out Beyond Two Eyes? I'm very excited for it. It's the sequel to David Cage's cinematic masterpiece starring Ellen Page. There's a lot of branching narrative, a lot of quick time events. Ellen Page is turning in a really wonderful performance here as a little girl walking around in some grass, and she looks cold. I wish she'd put on her jacket. And that sort of emotional connection is exactly what David Cage is capable of delivering time after time.
No, this is Beyond Eyes. It's not Beyond Two Eyes. It's Beyond Eyes. It's about a girl who is blind, a little girl named Ray, who is looking for her cat. I believe her name is Nini, like from the SNL skit, but it's a cat. She's looking for her cat.
Okay.
And she cannot see. She lost her blindness as a young girl.
She lost her blindness?
She lost her vision, as a young girl. And so the best thing about this game is the way it sort of puts that across, puts that idea across. What you're basically seeing is her other senses filling in the vision for her. So it's all very stylized because she lost her vision as a young child. So it's kind of a storybook imagination of what the world.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
It's gorgeous, and you see the world sort of filling in around her as she discovers it with her other senses.
Okay, so those birds in the sky, those appeared because she heard the birds.
She heard the birds, right? So she imagines the birds there. The bridge she can feel or perhaps smell. Perhaps there's a bridge smell. Now,
are those little things?
Let me show you this. Let me show you this fountain there. She hears a fountain, and this is one of the cool little tricks that the game does. When she gets closer, no, it's a sewer pipe.
Oh, that's cool.
Because she could hear that. She imagined it to be a beautiful, beautiful fountain, and you'll see that a couple of times throughout the game.
How did her getting closer to? I guess she smelled this.
Smelled it? Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't know. She's I don't know. She's not Daredevil, Griffin. She's doing her best. And you could see the world sort of getting filled in, and you can sometimes you can see a trail around you. Here she sees some clothes that are hanging up.
Well, she smells them, I'm assuming, the fresh linen.
Except, no, she doesn't. It's a scarecrow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming. And you can see the black lines sort of circling that. When there's something that she's afraid of in the environment, she won't progress past it.
Okay.
Which is how it sort of blocks your progress from certain things. And
how do you get past something like that? You just walk around it?
You've got to find the rocket launcher, and you can blow them to hell.
Okay. That's a bit unexpected, I'll be honest, Justin.
Yeah. No, that's not accurate. You just kind of walk around it.
Okay.
I was super stoked when I find these, because that's one of see the green lines there? That means you can interact. And that's one of the very few kinds of interaction there is in the game. What you and I are doing is probably the ideal way to take in Beyond Eyes.
It's catching on, isn't it?
Because you can see this speed that she is moving at is very slow. And I am not going to review a game about a girl who is blind and have my chief complaint be that she's too slow.
Right.
Because that is a bad look for me. But that's the accurate, that's my take on it, is it's an exploration game. That's the whole bit. The closest I found to an objective or something to do beyond exploration was a little girl lost a ball, and she wanted me to help her get her ball back. And when I did, she helped me past an obstacle that I was struggling with. You see, but the speed is so slow, and then you see things see the fence that just sort of appeared there, and the wall. There's a lot of exploring and then realizing you've hit a barrier and having to double back, or this tragically when I wandered all around just to find that I was back in the place that I was before. And a lot of that would be a lot more palatable if it was just a little bit faster, if it was just a little bit more pleasant to navigate the environment.
Can you go back through those little barriers, or is that just sort of a gating thing moving you forward?
Yeah, I think that's moving you forward. I think that crow there was keeping you from going back.
It's good that she understands that she should be very afraid of crows.
Yeah, she's definitely super duper afraid of crows.
Now what is this?
Now she thinks that may, like, she hears her rustling in the bush, so she thinks, as you can see, and it communicates this really well through just the visuals, that maybe the cat is in the bush.
Get up in there. But wait, what if it's a crow? If it's a crow, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing more terrifying than crows. Now, the good news is it's not crows. It's just some beautiful birds. But it's also not her cat, so she has to move on. Like, as a simulation of what this little girl's life might be like, I think it's probably a pretty good execution of that.
Yeah, it seems like looking at it is cool. I was very, very, very charmed by the trailers for this game, but I can totally get that playing it might not be.
Yeah, and you can kind of see another one of the issues is that because of the way it's designed, if you're not backtracking, if you're like actually exploring, you spend a lot of your screen real estate just looking at white, because you're not like you don't want to double back usually, right? So like you could see back there, it's a lot more attractive to look at, but you very rarely do that because you don't really want to move backwards.
Yeah.
Right. So now this is kind of smart. You see the frog there? She heard the frog, and that led her over
to this
bridge, and that's like kind of a smart thing. There's like neat stuff happening here, so it's like executing on its own thing very well, but like judging it by like trying to like categorize it among other games, like it would be really hard. This is a beautiful sequence here.
Yeah, it is good to look at. Oh,
they weren't crows; they're chickens. Good news.
It seems like that one sonically you should be able to identify them.
If you just want to like chill and like wander around, I just wish it was a little more like a little easier to get around. Like maybe once you have to backtrack, if she could speed up a little bit because she knows the territory a little bit, just to make it a little more pleasant to get around.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's just very slow, and especially when you realize again, oh no, I've been here already. Like, and you're just staring down the barrel of a lot of really slow walking. It's really pretty. I also think it would help for an exploration game if there was a little more to do in the world, more like sort of story or things that you were sort of uncovering that were interesting.
That is the main complaint that I've heard leveraged against the game, is that there's just not a lot of it's sort of insubstantial narrative wise, which is kind of a bummer because it's like I feel like the world and setting and this character, so like I don't know, that's the most interesting thing about it. And
yeah, a lot of exploration games like your Dear Esther's, for example, or that Vanishing of Ethan Hawke.
God, I miss Ethan Hawke. He did so good in his films.
He's so good at acting in Gattaca, and then he's just gone.
And he's out.
But like they reward exploration with like telling you more about the world, and this is more again. It's like it's almost closer to. It's more like a really really advanced connect the dots, like where you're going between 2 points and not really sure what you're going to get, and then you look back and say, oh okay. I discovered something here. Like, oh, I found a little farm. That's cool. It just isn't very rewarding. You know what I mean? There's a lot of like, oh, I found a bush or I found a wall or something like that, but not a lot that feels very substantial.
Yeah, that makes sense.
See, this is kind of cool. Like, oh, I found a house. That's neat. But you can't go in the house. There's not like anything that you learn about the house. It's just, it's a house.
A house is here.
But it's pretty to look at.
Yeah. Do you know what they would call this game if it started Ethan Hawke?
What?
Beyond Sunrise.
You are the most talented video game artist of our time. And I'm gifted to be your brother.